WABC 24/7, I'm Aaron Dean. Police are searching for at least 2 suspects in a mass shooting at a neighborhood block party in Baltimore over the weekend. 2 people were killed and 28 others were injured, the youngest of those just 13 years old. Investigators have yet to determine a motive as they continue to look at the crime scene, which spans across several blocks. Baltimore's mayor says police are following every lead and won't stop until the suspects are found. The Advocate Channel's Ivan Rodriguez has the latest on this shooting.
A beloved annual block party turned into a chaotic mass shooting early Sunday, killing 18-year-old Alaya Gonzalez and 20-year-old Kailas Fagbemi. Police say the 28 others injured were mostly teenagers ranging in age from 13 to 19.
Couldn't believe the numbers. It was frightening.
Baltimore police say at least 2 shooters were involved and are working to determine whether more people were firing. Monday morning, officials say they have yet to determine a motive and are still figuring out if victims were targeted or shot at indiscriminately. Mayor Brandon Scott says the investigation won't end until the shooters are under arrest.
We won't stop until we find those responsible and hold them accountable.
Baltimore police are searching a crime scene spanning several blocks and looking through hours of surveillance footage. Officials also urging community members to come forward with any relevant information that could help in the investigation.
We have only touched some of the video that's out there. Everyone had their cameras working, had their phones working, and there's much more video out there.
As the city comes together to pray for the victims of this latest mass shooting, community leaders are asking for the violence to end.
And as a community, once and for all, let's come together and stop this senseless killing.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
A judge has ordered the Proud Boys to pay more than $1 million to a predominantly black church for the destruction of a Black Lives Matter sign in 2020. The decision was part of a civil lawsuit the Metropolitan African Methodist Episcopal Church filed against the right-wing extremist group. The judge called the attack hateful and overly racist. An attorney for the church said that the goal of the lawsuit was to stop the Proud Boys from being able to act with impunity without the fear of consequences. And now that the dust is settling from a series of decisions handed down by the Supreme Court, questions are mounting over what comes next. From student loans to LGBTQ+ rights to college admissions, the rulings cast by the justices will have both short and long-term consequences for millions of Americans. When do student loan repayments start? Can businesses deny services based on sexual orientation? What will the admissions process look like for prospective students? The Advocate Channel's Mike Valerio breaks down all of it and what this means for you.
As the proverbial dust settles around the United States Supreme Court following a contentious term, the immediate consequences for everyday Americans are becoming more clear.
The Roberts Court these days is more eager to overturn older precedents than any court we've had, at least probably in the last century.
In striking down affirmative action programs at Harvard and the University of North Carolina, the court effectively determined colleges and universities can no longer expressly consider race in the admissions process.
It prevents our higher education institutions from using a tool that helps promote diversity on campus.
And while the court suggests the impact of an applicant's race in their life can still be taken into consideration, and proponents of ending affirmative action say it makes the process more fair, many fear diversity in higher education will suffer in the long term.
I'm very concerned about the morale that is going to have on our minority youth.
For those who are already in or have gone to college, the court also struck down President Biden's student loan debt cancellation program, a win for Republican-led states and conservatives who claimed it was illegal.
We're talking about 40 million Americans that are going to be crushed by debt in just a few months.
As the administration works to find a new approach to debt relief, the 3-year pause on loan repayment started during the pandemic is soon expiring. Borrowers will have to resume paying their federal student loans in October, with interest set to begin accumulating again in September. The White House says, however, it will offer a 12-month on-ramp period for borrowers who are re-entering payment. I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
U.S. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg is slamming the Supreme Court's ruling supporting the Christian business owner who refused to create websites celebrating same-sex weddings. Buttigieg said, quote, "It appears the web designer only went into the wedding business for the purpose of provoking a case like this," end quote. He added that the case looks like it was a deliberate attempt to undermine equality. Another politician says that the justices have been destroying the legitimacy of the court.
In other words, sending these kinds of things to the courts and sending these kinds of things to state legislatures for the clear purpose of chipping away at the equality and the rights that have so recently been won in the LGBTQ plus community.
We have a broad level of tools to deal with misconduct, overreach, and abuse of power. And the Supreme Court has not been receiving the adequate oversight necessary in order to preserve their own legitimacy. And in the process, they themselves have been destroying the legitimacy of the court, which is profoundly dangerous for our entire democracy.
Buttigieg added that such rulings are made, quote, "at the expense of so many other issues that Americans are asking for relief and support on." Hashtag Twitter down was trending this past weekend. Thousands of users got messages saying, quote, "rate limit exceeded." What appeared to be an outage turned out to be a temporary policy change. At midday, Twitter CEO Elon Musk posted that due to extreme levels of data scrapping and system manipulation, the social media platform was imposing limits. Verified accounts are limited to reading 6,000 posts a day. Unverified accounts can read 600 posts a day, and new accounts are limited to 300 posts a day. A roller coaster at a North Carolina amusement park is shut down after a visitor noticed a crack in the support post. Jeremy Wagner took this video of the Fury 325 ride at Carowinds this past weekend. It shows the crack at the top of the steel post, and as riders come around the corner, the crack appears to expand and contract. Wagner told media outlets that he reported the crack to guest services before leaving the park, but then also called the Charlotte Fire Department. They called him back in 10 minutes saying that the ride had been shut down. Wagner said that his daughter and niece went on that ride 6 times. In an email, Carowinds said that all rides are expected daily and the Fury will remain closed until repairs have been completed. The Fury is the longest steel coaster in North America, reaching speeds of 95 miles an hour. It's a favorite July 4th pastime, and fireworks sales are expected to reach record levels this holiday season. But safety experts urge caution as the explosive devices can be extremely dangerous and even deadly. The Advocate Channel's Mandy Gaither has more on what you need to know about fireworks to stay safe this Independence Day.
From bottle rockets to aerial fireworks, fun can turn dangerous in an instant if the explosive devices aren't properly used.
Last year we had at least 11 deaths associated with it and over 10,000 trips to the emergency room with fireworks related injuries.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission says many of those hurt by fireworks in the month around July 4th last year were children, with sparklers accounting for about 600 of ER visits. 38% of the injuries were burns, with hands, fingers, head, face, and ears most often hurt.
Fireworks aren't toys and they're not for children. They're burning at 2,000 degrees, it's like a blowtorch.
If you plan to set off your own fireworks, experts say to first make sure that they're legal in your area. Keep a bucket of water or hose handy in case of a fire. Light fireworks one at a time, then move back quickly. Never try to relight or pick up fireworks that haven't fully ignited, and never use fireworks when under the influence.
That's actually where we see a lot of the injuries and deaths associated with fireworks.
Experts say the safest way to enjoy fireworks is to leave them to the professionals. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
And thanks so much for joining us for AC 24/7. For more, go to theadvocatechannel.com and subscribe on the Advocate Channel YouTube page. For AC 24/7, I'm Aaron Dean.